Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to walk through our commodities, walk through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and then work our way through ETFs and commodities, at least the ones that I follow. And I'll give you my financial opinions around the market. If you guys need any help with anything commodities related or stock market related, definitely check out finding-value.com. Sign up to be a platinum member. Join our community. Kick it with us. It's a lot of fun doing the question and answer sessions on the weekends, and you're going to get a lot of information out of it and potentially a few stocks to look at. So let's dive in here. Let's take a look at everything. So we've got the DXY here. I know this is a busy looking chart. Big long-term view. We've got a resistance line that's this white line right here. That guy right there. You've got support coming in. So support is anywhere where you have buying and selling pressure. So think of it as buying and selling and shares that are exchanged at a certain stock price. We've had some shares exchanged right where we're at, and we're getting this bounce to the upside. Now, if we zoom in today, I mean, obviously today we had a little bit more selling pressure today. It's not necessarily a reversal candlestick. It could be. You know, usually you want to have the opening above the closing price and then go below the 50th percentile. So it's real close. It could be a reversal candlestick. Let's look at the 5-day here, and you can see this thing really start to come down. So is this a reversal candlestick? Yeah, it probably is. So if we were to look at this, this is a 5-minute chart. I kind of just draw a trend line here. You can see that it broke to the downside of that trend line. So we could see a reversal here to the downside for the DXY. What does that mean? Generally, when the dollar is weaker than other currencies, we see this DXY go down. Generally speaking, that means that our monetary policies are looser than their monetary policies, and that's how the market is perceiving it. So we are getting a little bit of a sell-off in the DXY in the short term. Nothing goes straight up, nothing goes straight down. But there we are. That's that trend line I drew in on the 5-minute. And we could be potentially heading lower to the downside if that is a reversal candlestick. We'll have to wait and see tomorrow to see any follow-through with it. Generally, on a weaker dollar, and these are getting tied together. The DXY and the yields are getting tied together here. We had the yields fall. This does look like it's starting to put in a top. Why do I say that? See all these big green candlesticks here and the small red candlesticks? That is a nice, strong uptrend. Then here we have a bearish engulfing, which is generally a reversal pattern, but it doesn't mean it has to happen immediately. And now we have another bearish piercing pattern that happened today. So if I were to zoom in on this section here, just to show you guys what it looks like. So I'm going to zoom in and go to the 5-day candlesticks. What you're going to see is a topping type pattern. So this is what it looks like. Hopefully this updates here. This is your kind of topping type pattern. And then see, you've got an uptrend coming up. And then you can see we try to go higher, try to go higher, try to go higher. And then a lot of the times what happens is this breaks down to the downside. And you'll get kind of this topping pattern. So again, we'll see what tomorrow has in store for us, but we could see a potential reversal here if the sellers want to push it lower. We are getting more selling pressure. We are getting larger red candlesticks, and they are reversal candlesticks in terms of bullish or bearish engulfing and bearish piercing. Bond prices, they go opposite of yields, and they are breaking the downtrend line. That is a horrible downtrend line. Sorry for that. Sorry you had to witness that, everyone. It broke out, and we're kind of sitting there, and yields are also looking to reverse, so bond prices typically reverse as well. Again, this is yields here. It's the same chart as the 10-year yield. That is a bearish piercing where we could potentially head lower. Big question is, are we going to head lower down here, do a retest, and then head back on up? That is a high likelihood. So short-term weakness, which could turn into longer-term strength on both 10-year and 30-year yields. The TNX ratio, this is basically flat, maybe slightly higher. We're right at support of this long term. We've just been bouncing back and forth. When this goes higher, gold loves that. What that means is that the curve is normalizing. So we could see gold and silver do very well if the curve normalizes. Think of it as the market pricing in weakness in the overall stock market. Not weakness, I should say weakness in the economy, not the stock market. The economy, which is inflation, weakness in inflation. When we look at the CRB index, we're higher today, 0.53%. It does look like we're putting in some sort of, I don't know, pattern here where we're just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing. So if you look, the size of this is bigger than the size of this, which is bigger than the size of that. And you can see that this is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And it's squeezing into a tip here. So we should see a break at some point. I do think it's highly linked to oil. And oil is also going to be linked to yields, which is also linked to inflation. They're all interlinked. The CRB to S&P 500, it is trying to put a stand here. You can see this thing just moving sideways here. We'll see if we can break this downtrend channel to the upside. That's not what I'm projecting. I'm saying let's wait and see if we can break it before I make any other further conclusions. This is a kind of a double top in the short term, though. Gold slightly higher with that weaker dollar and weaker yields. It still doesn't look convincing that this is the ultimate bottom. We still could head lower with that momentum behind it. Silver also is heading lower. It still looks like it wants to dive down to a lower price and find some sort of bottom. I do not see much buying pressure anywhere in that circle there. There's no big green candlesticks. It's just red. This is the red army overtaking and selling it down. Platinum, this is getting a kick to the pants a little bit. Nice big green candlestick today, up $31. We'll see where this is a battle between the buyers and sellers these past two trading sessions. But it does look like it's trying to put in some sort of effort at a bottom here. XAU to gold ratio still looks like it's ready to go lower. We were up today, but I'm not convinced that that's done yet. So I'm going to say sideways to lower is what I'm expecting. GDX, sideways to lower still. These are not big green candlesticks. No green army showed up, nothing. Same with SILJ. SILJ is up 1.93%, but I'm not convinced this is a bottom yet. We've got massive selling pressure all in this. You can see no green candlesticks. It's not even like an attempt to try to push this on up. So I think this could continue lower or go sideways at best. Crude oil down a little bit today, down 0.76%. And we're just chopping sideways here. I mean, we're in this kind of little pattern there going, just chopping sideways. And we'll see which way this thing breaks. I'm not convinced on either direction because we've got selling pressure equal to the buying pressure back and forth, back and forth. So the markets they don't know where to go. They're confused. Natural gas, not as confused lately. I mean, this is definitely getting the buying pressure moving higher. So I'm going to stay with that. It's going to grind on up for natural gas. So that's looking better. XOP, yeah, you know me. I know a lot of people, they like me saying it. Some people don't like me saying it, but this is XOP. Looking at this guy, we're just squeezing up on a big pattern here. You can see us going back and forth, squeezing up. It's looking very similar to uranium and a lot of other sectors where they're just moving sideways in a holding pattern, so to speak. OIH, it's doing something similar. It's just at a different stage. We're at this long-term support resistance line there. It's not super strong, but we're right there, sitting right on top of it, right on support. So it does look good that we're sitting on support, and it can go. I would say we've got a bullish engulfing here, so I would say the likelihood is to the upside. But I do think we need natural gas and oil to cooperate. If oil goes down, it's going to be a pretty big headwind for this to go up. So I think we'll go sideways. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. Man, we've got lots of selling pressure here. I still think it's sideways to lower because of that selling pressure, and the buyers just haven't come in. I know I've got a unique way of looking at this because it's not technical analysis, but if you look at all these things over and over and over and look at hundreds of thousands of charts, you'll pick up these patterns if you were to do that. URNM, again, we've got these strong selling pressure movements here with a little bit of a kind of a resting period in between. And it looks like it's trying to put in a bottom. We see the small contraction of the candlesticks. The opening and closing prices are all very small. So I do think that we could potentially try to turn on higher. We got to see evidence of that through the buying pressure. Otherwise, this trend to the downside is still intact. TAN up 2.25%. Weaker dollar, weaker yields. The stock markets and a lot of those overall markets are going to like that. We're still above this bottom here, so I still think we have the chance of moving on up. So still looks all right, and it's hanging in there. We're just squeezing up to the corner here. COPX up 2.21%. We had a little bit of selling pressure here. It's not a reversal candlestick, but yeah, it's looking a lot better than what it was. We're at support here. So that's basically the same spot right underneath us. So we're probably going to get a bounce here. LIT, this is the lithium ETF, up 1.2%. We're right on support. Right on support. REMX also on support, getting a bounce higher. Not really much to say there. Long term, it looks good to go higher. SPX, slightly above the trend line. And we're just basically doing a retest of that, and I think we could potentially go higher if we get weaker dollar, weaker yields. If we don't get weaker dollar and we don't get weaker yields, look for this to go lower. So that's really what's driving it. And you could say inflation is what is driving it. So if you think that inflation, we have a disinflationary period, we could see the stock market and the U.S. Composite Index here go higher. We're right at support for the Composite Index, just resting on it. EEM, slightly higher today. We're right at support. There's all support through that little area down there. We've got XHB, the home builders, weaker dollar, weaker yields, slightly higher in the home builders. And we're right on support in the short term. MU is right on support, just moving sideways, looking good. We've got copper. Copper slightly higher today. Again, we've got lots of selling pressure before this. We could see this come back up and roll back over down to this area down there. That is a likelihood. Lumber, laying down the lumber up 3% or so. Looking good, ending on up. Little wick at the top. But more or less, I do think this will work its way on higher. It'll grind on up. We've got nickel. Nickel prices heading lower today. And I do think we could potentially come back down here and retest that support level. And we can even yank this guy all through here. That's the whole support level through here. Aluminum, slightly lower today, but I do think looking forward into late 2023, early 2024, things look pretty strong for aluminum in terms of market deficits and inventory levels. Baltic Dry Index higher. This is a false breakout. Now we just got to keep that momentum to run into the upside. So I do think the Baltic Dry Index could do some cool stuff. I think it'll mirror whatever oil does to some extent. We've got Newcastle coal futures slightly lower today, but I do think eventually we will turn at some point. This is the big basing pattern. We broke out of that and went ballistic. Then we're coming back down to reality, and somewhere in this general vicinity, we'll find a spot to kind of relax and consolidate. Ethereum, let's go back to the candles and the dailies. Ethereum's just been moving sideways through here. I can delete, I can just kind of, delete it. We're just kind of meandering around there. Same with Bitcoin. We've got a lot of real big green candlesticks, not too much red. So, I'm inclined to think that this is going to continue higher. higher for both. I think they both look very good. I know that sounds weird, but I think, a lot of the times you see this is a consolidation pattern at a bottom, and then you get these double humps. You get like this one hump, two hump. I see that a lot. So if you go back to the other pattern down here, once it goes, you get this consolidation like this bottom here, and that section is this section here kind of. This is all squeezed up of this. This guy here is that guy there. So it's really squeezed up in there. It's all jammed up. And this here could be this here. Could be. So we could see a very big move in Bitcoin coming up, which is a possibility. Now, I'm not stating that is the fact. And if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, let's do a little bit of pattern recognition here. All right. So I grabbed this pattern here. And what I'm talking about is if I were to squeeze this thing way up, it's going to look kind of weird. All right. Squeeze it on up. So this pattern here is squeezed up in here, and this pattern here, man, you can't really see it. I'm going to get this out of here. Either way, this guy here, let's circle it. Actually, let's go in and look at it. This little double hump here, right in that section, I think could be that little double hump here. Potentially. So that's what I'm looking at. Anyway, that's what I've got for today, guys. I'm not trading Bitcoin or Ethereum. I do have a call option on Coinbase, as weird as that is. A out of the money one that I got at the bottom a ways back. And if you guys are on the website, obviously you know that. And you know that I sold my original position amount and left the other half to free ride. But yeah, that's what we've got for today, guys. And, natural gas, it's looking strong. Precious metals, it still needs some time, I think, to turn around, in my opinion there. There's a couple of sectors like copper might need some time to turn around. We've got some time to kind of turn around. A lot of other stuff highly depends on yields and interest rates. If we see interest rates and the dollar head lower, I think we're going up. If that happens. If we run and the buyers, or I should say the sellers of bonds come in, pushing yields higher, then I think the stock market will stay down. But that's really what's going on right now. There are opportunities in the market, things that are consolidating at very low levels. We talk about it on the website. You guys know which companies those are. So if you have any interest in checking out the companies that we're looking at, finding-value.com, use the word discount in the coupon code, get yourself a discount. You can also sign up for the yearly membership, which will get you a bigger discount than the monthly membership. You can always upgrade to the yearly. Just give me a message if you've been with the website for over a year, or about a year, I should say. It hasn't been a year yet, but if you've been with me for about a year, shoot me a message and tell me that you're interested in the discount that I'll provide, and I'll give you guys a little bit larger discount if you want to renew to a yearly membership. All right, guys, that's all I've got, and we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.